made a little mistake, but you deserve to have your question answered and keep going. We've all been in organizations with volunteers where some other people do more work. Sometimes those are called HOAs. Everybody wants to be on the social committee, nobody wants to be on the architectural review committee to tell you that your leads are too much. Okay. Let's see. Resolutions. Okay, the precinct committee person near the end of the presentation has a blank form, says resolutions, and people from the audience can give a resolution that they would like to be incorporated into the Democrat Party or Republican Party platform. A resolution is a political statement that you would like your party to adopt, such as?
I'd like to drill an ANWR, and I'd like to do that right now.
Okay, drill here, drill now. Chris Holbert wants us to drill. As the precinct chairman, I'm writing down his statement. I don't write down his name, I just write down his statement. Now, give me a ridiculous statement.
I'd like to raise the driving age to 73.
Okay. Chris Holbert thinks we should raise the driving age to 73, and everybody's laughing, and we write it down because he is a voting member of our precinct caucus, and we need to take his suggestion seriously. Now give me an appalling statement. More appalling, like offensive.
Take off the
Okay, shush. That's too appalling. Okay, I'll give one. I am a pro-choice Republican, and I am so pro-choice that I believe everybody needs to have at least one abortion. Okay? All right.
You said it.
I said it. Well, I didn't like a slightly appalling statement. Okay. The chairman writes down that statement. Anything that you say that you think should be part of your party platform gets written down. Now, the resolutions go over to the county assembly, and the delegates from all over the county come to the county assembly in April, and they review all of these resolutions, which have been printed up on a piece of paper, and you're voting essentially for resolutions. You are checking the box on the ones that you think sound the most reasonable. And then there are 64 counties in Colorado, so all of the popular, most voted on resolutions from the county assemblies all over the state go to the state convention in May. And now you're a delegate at the state convention, and you have a printed list of 300 resolutions that came from caucus. And you're voting on which ones sound good, and when you get to the one that I said about forced abortions, you know, you just mark it out with a marker. It's ridiculous. Okay. But you're checking, checking, checking. And by the way, socialism is very in right now, so if you put that same resolution on the other party's platform, God only knows who would check the box. Okay, so, and that's the resolution process, and then the ones that get the most votes at the state assembly go to the Republican National Committee, maybe just once every 4 years when we all gather there, and there's a lady in one of my precincts, one of my precinct chairmen is on the party platform committee. So again, some of these positions sound higher or lower than others. You know what? Kendall, who is like technically below me, has been going to the national convention for 20 years, and she's on the party platform committee, so these titles really mean nothing. And none of us are paid anyway, so. Okay.
So, Chrissy, just to clarify, at the caucuses, all resolutions submitted are collected. The first vote happens at the county assembly.
Right.
The ones that get a positive vote at the county assembly then go on to the state assembly,
Right.
and the ones that get voted positively there become part of the state party platform for that year, correct?
They are considered to be included in the party platform. Many of them will not be included.
Right.
Last year, the party platform got moved to the right a bit because Kendall and Lily Nunez and other folks from right here in Colorado and around the country. I mean, the committee wasn't that big, but we had quite a few folks from Colorado on that committee. And they managed to change the wording on some of the party platform statements.
So do they take resolutions from each of the parties?
Well, it's a Republican process over here and a Democrat process over there.
Right. So then they're, I mean, each party has the same.
In theory.
Okay.
There could be differences that are nuances from each other, but a lot of the assembly structure and caucus structure that we're talking about is through the state legislature. It's legal. It happens the same on either side. A lot of this information you can take to your Democrat friends and share it, and they can go directly to their caucuses and their assemblies and achieve the same things that you want to achieve. Yeah. Yes.
If you have an idea for, I'm sorry, what was the term you used for the
Resolution?
the resolution?
Okay.
It's a good idea to have it in writing before you go in.
That helps, especially if you're going to get nervous, etc. Right.
Because the person who's taking the notes has to write it down.
Right, and you can just hand it directly
Yeah.
to that person. Good. Okay, next, if you want to be a precinct committee person, you don't have to wait to get elected at caucus. There are always openings. Now, your particular people, it might be filled in your precincts, but there might be 2 names on the county party website under precinct 63, but then if you made a phone call and said, are these people doing their job? And you might find out that they are simply names filling a space and haven't done a lick of work since they got elected. So again, we're not taking no for an answer. If you think you want to be a precinct chairman, you think you want to be a district captain, keep pushing it and talk to people and find out, is this position available? Can I have it today? Because frequently the answer might, I have had people come to my classes and within days called me back and said, I'm the new precinct chairman in my precinct. It happens often enough that it's very doable. Okay. Now we're looking at the one that says Neighborhood Precinct Caucus, and I just spelled this out for you so that you understand that there is a process here. In March we go to Neighborhood Precinct Caucus, followed by County Assembly in April, followed by the higher assemblies in April and May. I want to give you an example. Go back to the first page, number 3. If you're elected as a delegate, there is a form at caucus that you must sign before you leave. If you do not sign it, you lose your chance to be elected to all the other assemblies, and here's why. It is an indication of interest. You are going to sign your name and check a box saying, I'm interested in going to the state convention, I'm interested in going to the judicial assembly. Essentially, check all the boxes. And that leaves the door wide open that when you get to county assembly and it's time to elect people for these things, you have shown your willingness, because the only people at county assembly who get to be elected to their congressional assembly are the people who checked the box at caucus. If the precinct person in charge acts like they lost the paper, says they'll fill it out tomorrow, do not let them leave the caucus without locating the paper. It's probably here on a school desk in a big mess, and the person's inexperienced and nervous, they're hot, they're tired, they want the meeting to be over with. Don't let them go. This is where you have to be somewhat of a jerk, depending on how hard they're fighting you back, because there are precinct chairmen who say, I'll fill out that form for you tomorrow. Don't let them do it. If your name does not end up on that form and your boxes are not checked, you cannot get elected to go to the state assembly and the other cool assemblies. Okay, so this is where you need to be a little bit like a New York act.
I came up here to be the jerk, and you didn't let me be
Oh, you're going to be the jerk. I'm so sorry. Chris, where's that form?
Oh, it's late, Crystal. Let's go home. I'll fill it out tomorrow.
No, I need that form. I have to put my name on that form.
There's so many forms. We've written
If I don't put my name on that form, I don't get to go to the state
Here's the
assembly and
form.
vote you out. Okay. Next. February 08, Douglas County, Precinct 61, where I live. We're signing up our indication of interest, and people were getting to the Senate floor assembly, and they were skipping it and not checking the box. And here's why. Tom Weems was our state senator. Tom Weems was a good, well-known senator, and no one wanted to go all the way to Broomfield for half a day on a Friday to vote for a guy who was going to get voted by a unanimous audience, because no one was running against him. Nobody wanted to take the day off from work. Nobody wanted to drive across town. A lot of people failed to check the box and get elected to be Tom's delegate. So Tom had far fewer delegates than he could have lined up to go to his state Senate assembly. In April, 1 month before the assembly, Tom announced that he was not running for re-election. Suddenly, we have a wide open race and not enough delegates. 4 people from my area entered the race. I'll call them Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. And for 4 weeks, they sent mailers and made phone calls to all of the delegates. You're a delegate now. You hold these guys' lives in your hands. They cannot be elected state senator without the delegates' approval. And how many delegates do we have? 180?
There's 186 votes.
186 delegate votes. Okay. So these 186 people, which is like you guys times 5, got to decide who our next state senator was going to be, because in Douglas County, if you can make it through the assembly and you're the last guy standing, you win. No one's like biting their nails to figure out if you're going to beat the Democrat in November. So that's how it works in Douglas County. So that, we have open space Okay.